I want to talk about loss. When we lose a loved one, it breaks our heart. We lose part of us. Over the years, I've become more detached to it. So it's almost like I put up a guard, but I understand that we can't dwell on the past so heavily. So I refuse to stay there. But certain things can transform us back to a moment, back to a time when those people were around. And then that causes us to sort of reflect and consider how life has turned out since and what life was like before. I've lost a few people in my life, from aunties, uncles, grandparents, a step parent. And each of those has an impact on us because it transforms our life. My stepdad is the one that it sort of touches a nerve more than the others, which is quite strange when you think about it. It shows that I think genetics are not important. It's more like who had the biggest bearing on our lives. And he was an incredible mentor in a way. He was far more cold than I am, very stoic, very serious. But he taught us all everybody to stick together. And I think the sad part is, when I reflect now, family was everything to him. And since his passing, all of us have gone our own different directions. It was almost like he was the glue that held everybody together. And I think when you consider it like that, even in those terms, I think that's quite sad. But at the same time, we're all so different. And for me, I don't think it's healthy to keep yourself in situations and around people that don't align with you. Sometimes you've got to grow away from them or continue to ascend. But I wrote in my book, it's a role model. It's someone I'm very fortunate to have met, someone I was fortunate to come by and had in my life. Like I said, life hasn't really been the same since. Even when I watch my mum, she had so much more going for her. She's a survivor. She's a fighter. She continues. But for her, it's not the same. And I think even just witnessing that is quite sad. But like I say, I have a mental block to a lot of things because I know everything's temporary. All of our lives are temporary. We all came here for a purpose and to achieve something. And I don't like to let emotions derail me. I have moments when I get down, just like everybody else. Then I pick myself up because I realize I don't have time for wallowing for too long. I just don't. So I had a video a few months ago where I spoke about if you're channeling through a medium, would you rather connect to your angels or an ancestor that's passed? Now, I felt the angels because they're guiding me in this life. There's something I have to do in this life and I want to make sure I fulfill it. I can communicate with my ancestors when my time ends. Someone said there's a bit heartless because you're like, you're not respecting those that are suffering with their loss. And I thought it's not really for me to say how someone copes through their loss, though, and how they see life. My perception was if you have a higher calling or you feel you have a higher calling, then you take this life serious and you don't dwell so much. And that's not me trying to sort of like circumnavigate someone's loss and suffering. It was just the way I was processing it myself. I can differentiate between the two. Angels are a higher vibration. They're higher entities. I think to have a connection with them at all is surreal. So rare. So if they're guiding and watching over us, then I want to hear what they have to say. But that doesn't negate the life we've had. Because the way I see it is, we've had time with people. Our angels are there around us, but we don't realize. So when I can communicate with them, for me, that's so rare. But my stepdad was part of the reason for my spiritual activation, really. It was through his passing that little things happened. You know, it was weird, like family members, all of us having things happening the same night in different homes. It was weird, you know. It's like I said, "Oh, that happened last night." It was weird. It was a strange. So yeah. They said they had that. It's like, whoa. We'll be sitting in the living room now. People can say these things when you've got a candle and it flickers. You could say it's a breeze gone past or someone spoke, and it's like it's in the middle of the room, but it's only at that moment. You know, yet someone will put it down like it's just. There's always science to it. Well, sometimes it ain't science. Sometimes that person's there supporting us. So the thing is, on my journey, I know I have a sizable spiritual team around me, protecting me and guiding me. So yeah, we have our ancestors and they'll do what they can, but I already have angels supporting me doing what they can. So it becomes difficult to discern who's there and who's not. You know, I don't know if they've transitioned on to their next stage of their journey or whether they still watch over me supporting. But our ancestors can only support to a limited extent in our lives. That's what people don't realize. It's our spirit guides that have the biggest impact. Our ancestors have to continue transitioning on to whatever journey they're on in their life. Now, you may have times when they interject and they'll try and make themselves known to give you comfort. Sometimes they'll leave you on purpose for you to continue your journey. So sometimes we might feel like left behind. But there's a reason for it, because it's our journey to live, not to someone to hold our hand the whole way through. And again, that's what I'm aware of. So I try not to attach myself too much, especially when it comes to loss, because I know that means that person's journey came to an end because it was complete. In this lifetime, it was complete. That's why it ended. So we still have to continue with ours. And I think when you get so bogged down by loss and you never let go of what you had, you forego your future. You forego the present. We're just hindering progress. So yeah, it can make me heartless sometimes. But I'm not a heartless person. It's just that I understand my journey and I understand we all have a limited experience. Everybody has theirs. So those that have gone had their experience. And if we hold too tight to a moment and a person, we're just restricting ourselves from achieving what we can. That's why now, and it's through that experience, is why I am so resilient now. Even when I meet remarkable people who are still alive, we come into each other's life. I hold them in high regard, and they choose to leave my life. I don't hold on. I'm like, that's fine. That's your journey. This is my journey. I'm so focused now on my journey that people come and go. It's life. And the thing is, on the other side, we'll meet them again. The ones that actually have transitioned over and we've lost permanently in this lifetime. Because I find that's the hardest part. When someone goes in this lifetime, it alters the trajectory of our entire existence in this lifetime. All of our history, everything we've known, everything that's familiar. We now have to walk into unfamiliar territory. Sometimes substantial change, other times minor. Depends how much an impact they were in our daily life. And it's not easy, but that's what tests our character and changes us. Effectively sometimes puts us in the leadership role because someone has to step forward. So if you've got a leader, a head of the household leaves, it opens that opportunity for someone else to step forward and be that leader of their life, you know. Everything's changing. And I think that's the thing. We have to get used to change. So it's not necessarily about being heartless. It's understanding the ebbs and flows of life. Everything's going to change whether we hold on to it tight or not. There's nothing we can do about it, you know. Life is a mystery at times, but also very predictable. We know everything comes and goes, and the sooner we make peace with that, the sooner we can get used to the absolute go with the flow with the change. But of course, you know, when people go, it's more impactful depending on the person, isn't it? You know, like I said, some people have more impact on our lives, but it's not a case of forgetting them. It's absorbing that love, that existence, the way they interacted with us, the impact they had on our lives, and embodying that within ourselves to do ourselves justice, and it makes them proud. Because people that pass on, they don't want to see us suffering. They don't want to know we're sad. You know, they want us to continue living our life and fulfill a legacy. That's what they want. So we owe it to them just as much as ourselves to be our best.